before we get stuck into those specific routines, and something that I'm pretty pumped to discuss with you all, because this is really at the core of what I do, is we'll look at the reality of where we all are. Who we are, who we want to be, what results we want for our business. And as we answer those questions, more specifically, we'll look at what standards do we have in what we want. Because when we know who we are and what we want, well, then we can set the standards that will get the results that we desire. We can set the standards that will create the business that we desire to have. So this is not your typical workshop. It's a speech. It's a bit of a hybrid version. And whilst I'll give you some actionable steps to go away with, I think you're all big enough, ugly enough, experienced enough to kind of know what to do. You don't need me to stand up here and teach you a new habit or a new routine. And what I'm all about, and what I prefer to spend my time doing, is inspiring you to leave here and to want to do it. So whilst habits and routines are important and they can have an effect, tonight, as we go through all this stuff that I'm going to discuss, what I want you to remember, and what I urge you to focus on, is who you are and what standards that person has. Because before we can get stuck into standards and habits and routines and I can get you to do what you want to do, I really want to know, are you doing what you love to do? You should want to know it as well. Because if you're not doing what you love to do, all this stuff that we're about to talk about doesn't really matter. So ask yourself, are you doing what you love to do? Who do you want to be? Not what do you want to be, not what results do you want, not what you think you should be, not what society expects of you, but who deep down do you want to be? Because the standard that we hold ourselves to matters. It matters in a small business that we return emails within 24 hours. It matters in a small business that we spend 2 to 3 hours a day making sales calls, making pitches, getting in touch with clients, working on marketing. It matters that at least once every hour we take a small break to reinvigorate ourselves and make sure we don't get distracted by the unnecessary. And as it matters in business, it matters in life. On a personal level, think about it. What do you do with your spare time? With the extra minutes of the day that turn to extra days, that turn into extra hours, and extra time in the year, what do you do? When you're driving to work, how do you spend your time? Are you listening or not listening to the radio? Or are you listening to a podcast or talkback radio that could help you in your business? When you're cooking dinner, are you spending the time getting close with your loved ones and having conversation? Or are you just being quiet? Are you just spending time with yourself? Only we can choose to implement the routines, the standards, and the discipline that will get us to where we want to go. That will take us from the person that we are to the person we want to be. To the person that we need to be to achieve all those things, all those dreams in your mind for your business. It's our choice. But if the one thing you embrace today is to have higher standards, then the rest will take care of itself, because the standards will influence the habits, the small, the short-term things, will influence the routines, which influence our lives. Motivation is beneficial, it's great to kick you off, but it's routine that keeps you in the game. It's routine that keeps you going when that motivation wavers. When the last thing I want to do is send another email, it's routine that's meant I've already batch sent 100, 200, 300 that day. It's routine that means I've already responded to 40 emails, so I've already met my quota. It's the routine that means I automatically already have done that, which I don't want to do. That's why we need routines. For the morning routine, the purpose is to start the day right, or to create a healthy start and get your mind in the right frame of mind, or to, one of my favorite sayings, eat the biggest frog. Do the most important task for the day. So you can either think of it from a personal level, am I going to do the most important task that gets me going, that gets me started, that gets me performing my optimum? Or you can think of it on a business level. What's the most important task I can do for business? What's the biggest thing I need to do today? If you live a fulfilled life, full of your biggest ambitions, your biggest desires, you'll be driven to get the results anyway. You'll be driven to have elite daily routines. You'll be driven to live a life of higher standards. And standards are the key. What we do and how we do it every single day.